One of the biggest misconceptions that we come across is that severe pain is normal. There are a lot of women that are out here suffering. Okay. And I had severe pain myself. And so it was years when I went to college is when my severe pain happened. And I didn't say anything. I was just like, well, I guess this is normal that I have to lay down. I guess this is normal that I'm not going out. And so we really try to stress that, yes, light pain is fine, but severe pain is not normal. And I think with women in general, we are speaking up more about issues like PCOS and endometriosis, and we're finding other ways to feel comfortable during our cycle that it is important to talk about.
They been cramping my style all week. Craving chocolate trees, checking pants, checking seeds, sipping herbal tea, and fight for menstrual equity. Hey, I kick cramps ass. 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 You're now tuned in to the Kick Cramps Ass podcast with your host, Brittany Walker, advocating for menstrual equity, period poverty, and womb wellness. New episodes on Menstruation Mondays.
Happy Menstruation Monday. Welcome to the Kick Cramps Ass podcast, where I am your host, Brittany Walker. And today we're going to be discussing fighting period poverty in Houston, Texas, and closing the hygiene gap. We have a special guest coming on in just a few moments, and we cannot wait to introduce you guys. It is May, so it is Menstruation Month. It is Period Poverty Awareness Week. It is Menstrual Hygiene Day. So many advocacy dates in May going on, guys, because you know we're all about menstrual equity advocacy, period poverty awareness, and menstrual hygiene education. So, you know we like to kick off each episode with the I Am Power statement, with I representing inspiration, A representing affirmations, and M representing manifestations. And the I Am Power statement for today is, I am worthy of dignity in every phase of my life. I deserve access to the resources and education that allow me to understand and care for my body with confidence. So there it is. And then we also like to give a quote of the day. And today's is, when you are faced with buying groceries or your child is in school and they have fees, people don't realize that there's a necessity that people go through each month, a natural process, and it is something that they need. But for some individuals, this is not just for their priority. And that is by Edith Bellizaire, who we're going to be bringing on in just a few moments with her interview that she did with Breaking the Silence. Now, we're going to go ahead and take a quick sip of this good old cramp elixir. We're going to cut to a quick commercial break, and we will be right back with you. Tired of clunky remote recordings? Level up with Riverside FM Pro. Get studio quality audio and video, effortless editing with powerful AI tools, and seamless live streaming and collaboration. Become a pro of Riverside.fm and unlock the full potential of your content. Sign up today and make your voice heard. Visit the link in the description of this episode to discover more. Now, back to the show. Welcome back from that commercial break. We hope that you enjoyed it. So let's talk about our guest today, Edith Bellizaire. Edith is a nonprofit leader with over 17 years of experience in management and fundraising, having raised more than $25 million in support of local agencies. She holds a master's degree in public administration from Louisiana State University and a bachelor's degree in communication from Southern University and A&M College. Throughout her career, she has trained over 800 volunteers and delivered more than 2,000 presentations, building strong community engagement and impact. Driven by a passion for service, Edith founded Jane's Special Packs to address period poverty and ensure individuals have access to essential menstrual supplies. Through this work, the organization supports those in public schools, shelters, and community partners by providing both resources and education. Please, everybody, welcome Edith to the Kick Cramps Ass podcast. Hello, Edith.
Hi, how are you this morning?
I'm doing so well. How are you today?
I'm great. So excited to be here.
Thank you so much, and we are so excited to have you. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, Jane's Special Packs is deeply rooted in the Houston, Texas community. That's my hometown, that's where I'm from. What were the specific gaps you saw in the Houston area that led you to found a nonprofit focused specifically on menstrual hygiene?
Okay, so we kind of started because my daughter is my co-founder. Her name is Paige, and was around that age when we started 3 years ago. And so having that conversation with her and realizing, hey, there may be other people that aren't having these conversations, and then reaching out to some of the schools. And we used to always go to the library when she was younger, talking to those librarians and seeing that there is a gap, that a lot of individuals are coming to the nurse every day of their period. They're going to the library and not having the supplies. And with budget cuts or the nurses in schools not having a big budget for that, I was like, wait, this is a need. This is something that we should all have. We can't help that we have a period every month. And so it's a natural thing. And so we decided to me and her to come together and say, hey, there are other girls out there are other people out there, so let's do something together where we can go out and provide those supplies and education for those that are in need.
That is so beautiful. When I was still living in Houston, I was a part of a nonprofit that no longer exists, but we had issues trying to find other organizations that was doing exactly what you were doing. And that was back in like 2017. So I love that there is this opportunity for so many individuals in Houston that are suffering. Now, you work to provide access to supplies and the education needed to understand our bodies with dignity. In your experience, how does period poverty impact an individual's psychological confidence and their ability to participate in school or work?
When someone doesn't have access to period supplies, that's a basic need, right? It creates anxiety. It creates stress. It creates fear. Even I, as a younger person, had access to them. But when an emergency happens, I thought about that feeling that you have when your cycle comes on and you don't have the supplies. So I put myself in the shoes of someone that doesn't have the supplies. They don't have anywhere to go. So that fear and anxiety makes people just stay at home. And so it isolates them. And so they're not showing up to work. They're not showing up to school. And then that affects the bigger picture. It affects their quality of life. And so if you have a cycle 5 days a week and you don't have the supplies, you're not going anywhere. You're going to stay at home because of that fear that you're going to walk somewhere and you're going to have a stain, or the fear that, I'm going to get up at work and I'm going to walk past my coworkers and I'm not going to have the need or the embarrassment to ask for those supplies. And so it's much bigger than sometimes people don't think about it. They think about food, they think about, the bills. And if someone can't afford those things, period supplies are the last thing on the list. And so we want people to have a quality of life because it's a normal thing. We cannot help it, to provide the supplies that they need so they can go to work, so they can show up, so they can go out, so they can live their life and not be isolated and now have the depression or anxiety or the stress.
Absolutely. That is so beautiful. I think the first time that I heard about period poverty, about 8 or 9 years ago, that was a similar story where a young girl was explaining that her mom has to pick and choose whether she's going to pay bills and give her and her siblings groceries and have food in their mouth, or were they going to be able to get period products. So her mom would let her and her female siblings stay home during their cycles so they can kind of do old school, just go sit over the toilet and kind of free fall until they're done with their cycles. And I didn't even realize that that was still a thing, and didn't realize how many millions, not just hundreds of thousands, but how many millions of menstruators globally go through the exact same thing. Now, let's talk about the name of your organization suggests a personalized touch because of your mother's middle name. What goes into a Jane Special Pack, and how do you ensure that these resources provide not just utility, but is also a sense of dignity for the recipient?
So Jane Special Packs, the name is from, like you said, from my mother. That's her middle name. This is something that she used to do. She was a PE teacher. And so she would always have supplies. I'm like, why you always have clothes and pads and those things? It's something that she would have to provide access for her students. And so if they had an accident, they could go dress out and she could go wash the clothes for them. And so we're bringing that same passion, that same care, and that same dignity to Jane Special Packs. And it's very important to us. So when someone comes to us and they need, or we have an educational workshop, we allow them to pick their own supplies. We want them to take ownership of it, and it's not me just handing them something. So they're able to come to the table, pick up what they need. This summer, we're going to be making bags, emergency bags for their backpacks. And so it'll be a canvas bag, and then they can pick out items that they want to make it their own. And so we want to make sure that they feel comfortable. They feel like it's not just something that's handed out to them, and they can put the items that they need as well as take other items for the month if they need those.
Absolutely love that. I would have loved having your mom back when I was in school because most of my PE teachers were males, and they're like, okay, go to the nurse's office, or let me go get the other a female coach and see if she has something in her desk. So I love that your mom was doing that, and then you're carrying on the tradition.
Yes.
Now, education is a cornerstone of your work. What is the biggest misconception about menstrual health that you find yourself debunking when you're out in the community?
Okay. One of the biggest misconceptions that we come across is that severe pain is normal. There are a lot of women that are out here suffering. Okay. And I had severe pain myself. And so it was years when I went to college is when my severe pain happened. And I didn't say anything. I was just like, well, I guess this is normal that I have to lay down. I guess this is normal that I'm not going out. And so we really try to stress that, yes, light pain is fine, but severe pain is not normal. And I think with women in general, we are speaking up more about issues like PCOS and endometriosis, and we're finding other ways to feel comfortable during our cycle that it is important to talk about. Social media has really helped with that. We're getting out in the community. We push for them to start tracking and paying attention to your period, to power yourself with the information. So when you need to go out and speak about it or talk to the doctor or talk to the nurse, that you feel confident about it. And we just want them to take that power and know, like, hey, I know what's going on with my body. I know that this pain is not normal. And also the myths. We do games at our workshops, the myth versus fact. And it's a lot of cultural myths that are out there, like keeping your socks on, you can't go outside, you can't play sports, you can't
Right.
swim. And we can be as active as we want to be, as active, as comfortable in that as you are. But your period shouldn't limit you from doing any of your normal activity. And if it does, that's a conversation we need to have. So we push that to make sure that you are aware of your body and to have those conversations with trusted adults or medical professionals, because severe pain is not normal. We shouldn't be suffering.
Absolutely. I am so happy that you said that. That is one of the main reasons why we started KCA. It is not normal to have painful periods. You should have discomfort through that shedding process in that first and second day, but your period should not be painful. And that's when we have to turn and see what is causing this. Is it the menstrual hygiene products that we're using? Is it what we're eating? Is it the household products and the toiletries that we use? Is it the stress that we're taking on being these strong Black women? Like, so many things are involved. We don't need even hormonal disruptors, alcohol, and things of that sort. So I absolutely love that you said that. It should not be, guys, listen to us. It should not be normalized that your periods are painful. It's actually a very sacred process that we can get in control of and manage our periods moving forward. So they don't have to be debilitating and we can't get out the bed and we can't move. So thank you so much for saying that. Now, we mentioned earlier about May being such a massive month for menstruation movement. Now, with Menstruation Month, Period Poverty Week, and Menstrual Hygiene Day, how does Jane's Special Packs use these global milestones to spark local conversations and drive donations?
So we always really push to be more active during this time of the year because like May is just a month full of menstruation awareness. And so this year we're going to continue to use our social media platform to continue to push messages daily. We have some great things coming up during Peer Poverty Awareness Week, some special guests. My son will even be appearing because we sometimes like to leave boys out of the conversation. We can't do that. We can't continue to do that. And so I'm excited that he'll be joining. He comes with me with workshops, and we're also going to have a virtual donation drive. Yes, we take peer supplies all year long, but we're really going to push our virtual donation drive so we can be prepared for the fall when school starts again. So when those school drives come up, that we are able to provide supplies to those in need. But it's really about the education this month. We're really going to push those things that we may not be talking about, or the conversation you may want to have with someone that menstruates, but you are fearful of that. We're going to have those conversations, and we're even going to have a guest pediatrician come on during that week and discuss from a medical perspective what we should be looking for as far as our periods.
Absolutely love that. One, all the different things that you're doing in the community, and two, your son. I recently made a post about a boxer, Alicia Baumgartner. She just recently won a world title back on April, I believe it was April 18th, Saturday, April 18th. But after she won, she disclosed that she was on her period. And so I reposted that post, and I'm like, that's strength right there. You went 30 minutes in the round. That's really, really hard to do. And I had so many men come onto my post talking about TMI, that's too much information, that's disgusting, that's nasty. Why are you even talking about that? And I'm like, guys, men need to be a part of this conversation. I had a very pleasant experience. Actually, when I started my cycle, my mom was out of town and my dad did everything for me, waited on me hand and foot, got me everything that I needed, made sure that I was taken care of. So I was so shocked. Even all these, it's been almost 30 years. Let me try telling my age. Almost 30 years since I started my cycle, but it was just alarming. And then a lot of these men were in their 50s and their 60s. And I was even more shocked. And I said, okay, so you were part of your mom's menstrual cycle, right? Do you not have a wife? Do you not have daughters? How are you going to, how are you tending to your female loved ones when they're on their cycle? How are you teaching your sons how to treat their future mates, their teachers, their colleagues, their sisters? I was just so shocked at men not wanting to be involved in the conversation and feeling like this is such a disgusting thing to talk about. How dare we speak about a natural process out
Yes,
in the public, out in the open?
it's so needed. I have men that walk by and I'm like, no, don't move your son. Don't you move, come back. Because whether they get married or not, they may live in a house with sisters, they may be in their live in a house with their mom, they may have a friend. I want my son to be the one when he goes to school that if he sees someone that he's not pointing and laughing, and that he can say, here's my jacket. I want him to be caring and know what is happening to someone that may be in need and say, I got you. and here's
Exactly.
bring it back. We have to create caring people, and so it's just important. We have to have the conversation so they are aware they're going to interact with women, whether they're at work, in the house, or at school. It's just a reality.
Exactly. That's what I was explaining. Even if you're not married or you don't plan to have kids, you could be a manager or a leader at your job and you need to be understanding of your employees. So I love that you're doing that. So, guys, we're going to actually cut to a quick commercial break and we will be right back with you. Periods got you down? Kick cramps to the curb with Pilates for periods. Our online program combines targeted Pilates, soothing yoga, calming meditation, and breath work to help you manage your menstrual cycle naturally. Feel stronger, calmer, and more in control. Reclaim your comfort. Visit Pilates for Periods YouTube page linked in the description of this episode and start your journey to a more manageable cycle today. Now, back to the show. Welcome back from that commercial break, guys. We hope that you enjoyed it. So, we're going to get right back into this interview with Edith. Now, you are a 501c3 nonprofit, which requires incredible community support. How have you seen the social environment in Houston shift in terms of its willingness to talk openly about menstrual equity since you've started?
As we're building stronger presence in our community, as we continue to go out and increase our attendance at events and the libraries and even at schools, we're seeing that people are more open to talking about it. And I think as long as we continue to push and to go out there in the community and push our social media presence, that people are going to get more comfortable. Even some of our school presentations have increased, which was a little difficult in the beginning. People are like, well, what are you going to be talking about? Like, and some people are concerned, are you talking about sex? Are you talking about that? And we're not talking about that. We're strictly talking about what is happening to the body. And once people understand that, we see more of an interest. And so we're just glad that some of the school districts are opening up to allow us to get in there early. Let's start at the third, fourth, and fifth grade. People are having their periods earlier now. And so we need to get in there. We can't wait till they're in high school. You just can't do that. So we're seeing that Houston is more open to it. We are partnering with more organizations. Some of them do the same things here in Houston. And we're just so excited that we have people to build with. Houston is huge. So we want to be able to partner with different organizations that do focus on periods and reproductive justice and health to be able to get out there and spread the word to Houston.
Absolutely, absolutely. So K through 6, I was in A-Leaf, and then 7 through 12, I went to Fort Bend. And what we learned in A-Leaf many, many years ago, and then even going to Fort Bend in middle and high school, it was like two totally different worlds when it came to health education. In
Yes.
A-Leaf, it was like, yeah, your parents are going to talk about so much birds and bees in the fourth grade. Here's your little tampons, your Tampax box, take it home to your mom. She'll talk to you about it, versus going to Fort Bend and they were more open about hygiene and things you needed to focus on and things you needed to be more aware of. So I'm very curious on how schools in Houston are handling menstrual education. Is it something that's a more prevalent conversation when it comes to the health talk that they normally start having between fourth and sixth grade? Or are they still skirting that line of not giving applicable information that these menstruators need moving forward, especially while they're in school?
So I will say Fort Bend, working with some organizations in that school district, there are a lot of girl-led groups in Fort Bend, and it's so impressive to me. So they are continually on the top of making sure they have the conversations. Other school districts, some of them do small workshops. They kind of glance over the puberty era, but nothing detailed specifically for periods. And so they're more open to us coming in and having more of a you do the conversation
Okay.
and discuss it. You brought up A-Leaf. I just got a contact. So hopefully they're getting into the A-Leaf school district
Yay.
soon. But those, like, we have a lot of charter schools here in Houston as well.
Yes.
And so those schools are more open because they have a different ministration, so they're more open to having the conversation. So, and then also in Houston ISD, Pasadena's Galena Park, we are really trying to get in and kind of open the doors to having it, because there really isn't there.
Right.
It's like you say, it glazes over. This is puberty. Your body's gonna be changing hormones. Go home and talk to your parents.
Hmm. I was going to say, yes, sometimes the parents don't have those conversations because their parents didn't have those conversations. So it's, again, just skirted through. Mhm.
It is, and it's been the stigma of you don't talk about it.
Yes.
You do not talk about it in public. You hide what you have. You don't let anybody know. And so breaking through that and them being taught that mentality, and when they have the conversation, it kind of trickles down. And so it's a little harder to break that. Even when we go to the libraries, I have some of the same families come to this particular location, and to now see them from the first workshop to where they're excited, and the
Yeah.
conversation is never the same. It just continues on, and they're bringing it's just it's just a family full of girls. So they're bringing the
I
little
love it.
ones as young as 5, and they're coming. And so now it is a open family conversation. And it also helps when others come, because they're like, well, these people are so comfortable talking about it. It helps them. And then I've had workshops where, like I say, I have 5 or 6 boys that come in, and we're just laughing and having a good time. And I'm
Mhm.
like, you have to understand why your sister has cramps, you know?
Right. Right.
So we make it normal. And so I'm hoping to not only do it in the libraries, but to really push for the schools to take it seriously and have that conversation and create that compassion, not only with the girls, but we need to include the boys as well.
Absolutely. And I manifest that that works out for you with every school district. We're going to throw out Pearland. We're throwing out everybody out there. The Woodlands, let's go. Katy, ISD, we're Richmond, we throwing everybody in the mix.
Everybody.
Surrounding areas. I love it. I love it. Now, we often discuss the biopsychosocial model on this show. With me being into psychology, what I research about in regards to menstrual cycles and what my thesis is on and what I'm building a research lab around is the biopsychosocial model affects the menstrual cycle, meaning you biological factors, psychological factors, and social factors. It's not just, hey, you just don't have access to period products. It could be, like we said, your families are not discussing specific things. Like in my family, it was, it's the curse. You're going to be down for this many days. We're going to take this medicine. You're going to have this. You're going to have this, and boom, you're going to be good. I was the first woman in my family to have 14-day cycles, but also the first one to not have a fibroid because of all the changes that I made. So I love to use the biopsychosocial model on this show and in general with my work. So when an individual lacks access to basic supplies, how does the physical or the biological side, lack of resources, trigger a psychological stress response? So in other words, for them not to be able to afford products or not have the same products that they see some of maybe their peers have or have the same accessibility, how do you think that that can trigger a stress response within these menstruators or their families?
I think it really affects their focus. It affects their focus, their participation, and then at the end of the day, overall well-being, right? When we're stressed, when we have anxiety, it is not something that happens once a year. This is something that happens every month. And so I feel like at times that can contribute to the other issues that we see. So if you're stressed, we all know stress can affect the body. And if you're overwhelmed and if you're focused, your body tenses up, which could cause more bleeding. It could cause more pain. And it may cause other issues that affect the cycle. But not only that, it creates you to not be able to live fully. So then now we're isolated. Now we have the embarrassment. So you're not going out, you're not participating in sports. So then it affects your work. We're not doing well in school. Well, if you miss 5 to 7 days every month of school, you can't keep up. It's just a
Right.
reality. You cannot keep up. And if 1 in 4 girls are missing school during their
Mhm.
period, we have to do something about it. And if someone is missing work, We know how those sick days and work vacation days accumulate every month when you're in the corporate world. We can't miss that many days. And so it affects everything. And now you're looking at bigger issues of lack of income. You're not doing well in school, so you're failing, which comes to discipline issues. So I think people don't see the whole picture. And so we have to look at the whole picture and know that if you don't have the supplies, now we have stress, anxiety, and now it affects our body. So now we're sicker. Now we experience more issues. Now we're not going out. So now we may experience depression. And it just is a trickle effect that can get so much bigger than if we are able, as not just in Houston, but as a country, to provide it just as much as we provide toilet tissue in the public bathroom.
Right. Absolutely. And I've noticed, especially in the latter maybe 2 or 3 years, how many different other countries are giving menstrual leave for the first few days. If it's not a complete like paid time off situation, they at least allow you to work hybrid so you can stay at home those first couple of days. They're doing the same thing for students where they can stay home and or do like online school or something along those lines. And I feel like that's something that the United States needs to hop on. And but what I realize is it's not just, okay, we give you paid time off. They give you the education needed to help mitigate your cycle symptoms, to help control, if you have heavy cramps, heavy bleeding, any type of PMS symptom that's causing you to not function properly. So until we can get there in this country, giving the education, like you said, teaching people, spreading the word is what's going to have to work for now, and just giving people the proper knowledge and tools that they need and the resources they need to help better manage their cycles until the country, because I'm going to manifest that we're going to get there one day, that we can have those same opportunities globally.
Yes, and I'm hoping that with me and Paige going out to our community, that we are helping young girls, young menstruators be their own spokesman. And so I'm hoping to drive those outspoken bosses and leaders to
Yes.
be able to speak up so one day we can change these rules. We can bring those things that are overseas and in other countries right here where we are. But we have to educate them and let them know and be able to use their voice. I think sometimes we as women, we
Yes.
deal with so much. We have the kids, we have the work, we have extracurricular activities, and we neglect ourselves. And we cannot continue to live in that fight or flight mindset. We have to be able to speak up and take care of ourselves and know, like, hey, it's time. I can work home for virtual. This is happening. I need to take care of myself. If we do that, we're so much more productive when we're taken care of and we're taking care of ourselves.
Absolutely. And I feel like that will also help with what you were saying with the psychological factors, the stress and everything that can help mitigate, because they already have surveys coming back from like Japan and Spain showing how menstrual health has drastically decreased, especially among menstruators since they implemented these new laws and regulations. So in due timing, but until then, they have people like you and I and other organizations to make it happen.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep fighting for it.
Absolutely. Now, as we look at all the reproductive and menstrual policies this season, what are the legislative barriers in Texas, such as the tampon tax, that make the work of organization like yours more difficult or more necessary?
Okay, so the tampon tax was passed in Texas in 2023. So we are moving forward with that. So I am a member of the Alliance of Peer Supplies. And so we are really pushing the Good Samaritan Menstrual Product Act, which will allow organizations like me or other organizations that give out period supplies in massive amounts or distribution, the liability protection. And so we're really hoping that that can get passed. We're pushing the senators to really sign on to this bill and speak up for it so we can continue to do the work that we do in our community, because it's so needed. And we don't want other barriers and laws to keep us from providing supplies to those that are in need.
Absolutely love that. Absolutely love that. Okay, now if you could speak directly to someone who is currently struggling with period poverty and feels the stigma associated with it, what would be like your I am power statement to them or your piece of advice to give to those individuals?
So the first thing I would say is I am deserving of support.
Mm,
Okay. I am confident. I am prepared. I am
yes.
enough. You are not alone. Okay. You are worthy of care, dignity, and access. And, when I saw that we give out a bag too. And it says, I am kind, I am smart, I am brave, I am confident, I am grateful, I am loved, I am enough. So that is what we try to spread. That is what we try to say. But it's more so we sometimes have to know that we are deserving of support. We can ask for it. That is hard for me myself. Okay. We can ask for it.
Mhm.
We can seek it because we deserve the dignity, the care, and the access of supplies and the access of whatever it is that we need, right? It's okay to ask for help. And so that is hard for us, but I'm in my own era of stepping up and asking for when I need help. And so hope that that is shown when I go out. I hope people see that. And I hope that the confidence that I am gaining, because we're all continuing to grow as people, that they see that and they can say, I am deserved. I can ask. I deserve the access, the dignity, and the care.
Absolutely. The empowerment that you're putting into these young women is beyond amazing. I absolutely love it. And the bag, I'm like, if I would have had that when I was young, like I would have felt more confident on being on my cycle. So I love that. Now, what is the long-term vision for Jane's Special Packs?
Okay, so our goal is to continue to provide the access to those in
Mhm.
need. Like you said, we want all the school districts in the surrounding areas, not just Harris County, but the surrounding Houston areas. But one of our biggest goals is I would like to have a mobile unit one day. I want to be able to go out to the community. So if I don't have a spot, get on this, get in. Let's have, when
Mhm.
we have a table, we having a conversation. We can educate right there in our mobile unit, and we can give you the supplies that you need from 1 month to 3 months. Yes, we do provide emergency supplies, especially to our schools, and we provide packs, but I would love to provide supplies that you need from 1 month to 2 months. We don't want someone to just have a few packs. We want them to have what they need to sustain them, whether that's reusable products like the period panties, the cups, the discs, or if they're just more comfortable using the pads and the tampons, that's fine as well. But to provide education on those things so they can decide what works best for them and what's affordable. But we want to be able to go out to the community, drive up to these neighborhoods, and allow them to see Jane's Special Packs and what they're doing and get on. It's something I used to say even when we were in high school. Get on the bus, like get on. Let's
Yes,
talk about it. We're here. Get on. Let's sit down. Let's chat about it, and get what you need.
absolutely. Manifesting. Somebody give her a sprinter van. We're gonna put that logo on the outside. Yes, a mobile menstrual educate. I manifest that works out for you. Absolutely. This is a beautiful vision. Now, if every Houston resident had menstrual equity, what would that future look like for Jane's Special Packs?
So for us, it would be students in school. It would be people going to work. It'll be workshops that are happening at each school every year, not just here and there. It would be a constant program that we can see out there. So we are educating the younger ones to know and to feel that pride. We want to make sure that this is an open conversation, that the stigma is debunked, and that we can have a city where we have access to education and dignity, and that is a standard, right? It's not the exception, that is a standard. And that when you go out in Houston, whether it's a restaurant, the library, a city building, a federal building, your workplace, that if you go to that bathroom, there's access. If you want to go out to Discovery Green, Memorial Park, and you go to the bathroom because you're running in and say, uh oh, something is here,
Right.
There's supplies there. There's their access. And so that is big for us, that we hope that Houston will, I think we can do it. Houston has a lot of cultures here. It's a huge city. We're at the top of our game, medical capital of the world. We can have it. We can do it. There's enough people here and enough corporations here that hopefully we can all get on board, and that Jane Special Packs can continue to lead the way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I just had a light bulb come out. Have you considered the Houston Community college system?
I have gone to different events there, talked to a few people. So hopefully we can get in. We've attended a few events, but to get more visibility within that. We have done stuff with Texas Southern, with organizations there, and they've passed out supplies. So the colleges are interested. Some of these organizations, the Greek organizations, and like UH has an organization, even the University of Houston Medical School has a period organization to continue to push for the education there, because education continues, supplies change, how we view our bodies and what we want to do, whether it's Hellenistic or use standard products, is forever changing. And so it's the knowledge of that to see what works best for you. And so we're hoping to definitely get more into the universities and colleges and community colleges here in Houston.
Absolutely love that. Well, guys, we're going to cut to our final commercial break and we'll be right back with you.
Do you want? Yeah. Fly. Do you want to fly? Let go of all the things that hold you down. Used to be so easy.
Now, back to the show. Welcome back from that commercial break. We hope that you guys enjoyed it. So let's go ahead and get into events. We're in the month of May. So on our side, the first Saturday in May, which was May 2nd, was International Pilates Day. So our Pilates for Period, our fitness and mindfulness movement, breath work, yoga, meditation, and Pilates content channel on YouTube. We're going to have everything that you need to participate in Pilates Day. And then also it's Mental Health Awareness Month, which is something I did not mention at the beginning of this episode. So we are going to have a breathwork series for you guys to help you that anytime, if you're on the go, if you're at work, if you're at school, you could just stop and take a mini break and do a quick 5 to 10-minute breathwork routine to help you calm and get back centered. All right, guys. It's also Menstrual Hygiene Day month. So we are doing a giveaway for this month. Stay tuned to our Substack and our Instagram accounts. We'll have that information in the description of this episode so you can win some free menstrual hygiene products. And then I'm going to give it over to Edith so she can discuss what she has going on for this month.
So we'll be celebrating Period Poverty Awareness Week from May 11th through the 17th. So make sure you check us out on Instagram and Facebook. We'll be doing various workshops. Like I say, we're going to have some special guests. My son is one of them, as well as we will be hosting a virtual donation drive. And so we just encourage you all to help us provide supplies to those that are in our Houston area, from pads to tampons to our wonderful I Am bags. We are just so excited to continue to do our great work here in Houston, and we hope that you will continue to support us. So make sure you follow us on our Instagram and Facebook account so you can keep up to date on the things that we're doing and where we're going. And you'll be able to see our summer schedule as well of our Let's Talk Period workshops.
Absolutely love it. And we'll have all of Edith's information in the description of this episode as well. Guys, we're still accepting listeners' mail, so feel free to comment to this episode and we'll write you guys back. Or if you want a more intimate setting or more privacy, feel free to email us at contact@kickcrampsass.org, which will also be in the description of this episode. But to recap, we were discussing fighting period poverty in Houston, Texas, and closing the hygiene gap with Jane's special packs. Edith told us how this started with her mother. She took it over and she is advocating so graciously. And guys, I'm like blown away just learning all of this information. When I was still in Houston, I wish I would have. It seemed like we barely crossed paths. As you were starting your organization, I was in the process of leaving Houston. But if you're in the Houston area, please connect with this amazing organization, guys. You will not be disappointed. So there was some pivotal information that Edith gave and things that you need to focus on with yourself and taking care of yourself, and how you can better educate and combat period poverty and true menstrual equity. However, we are so glad and grateful for all of you guys for tuning in on this special Menstruation Monday. Now, until we meet next Monday, we manifest a positive, productive, and peaceful remainder of your day, your week ahead, and your menstrual cycle journey. And we'll be speaking to you during our next week's episode. Peace.